everyone. This is Antonio Barona, CEO from Sustainable Innovations. And we're back again to a new episode of our Quarantine Chronicles. So far, we have explored industries like pharma, banking, IT, waste management, food, healthcare. Even we have had government's point of view, but we have not discussed yet what happened in the energy sector. Today's guest, indeed, is coming from this industry. Apart from being a very smart and talented individual who is the CEO of a multinational company in Brazil, is also a published author. Today, we have the pleasure to have him with us and to tell us a little bit of this industry, their impacts due to COVID-19, and most especially their sustainability impact nowadays. So, Bruno, welcome. How's Sao Paulo?
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here with you during this quarantine, discussing about these interesting and different topics. Everything is good here in Brazil, as far as it can be. This is a very tough and different situation for us as well, but we're dealing with it as best as we can.
Great. So now, as usual, we're going to try to keep the same format as previous episodes. But to sum up, we have three main global objectives. The first one is just to really know our guest, his background, his work experience, his role, and pretty much how did you get there? That's the first objective. Second is we want to know a little bit more about the industry. How is this industry reacted to current events, such COVID-19, and what's happening in the sustainability part of the industry? And at the end, we would like to leave a final message to our audience. So now we can start. Bruno, can you tell us about yourself, your background? How do you get there? What does it mean to be the CEO of NOJA Power in Brazil?
Yeah, sure thing. So actually, this is an interesting story because it all started when I was still in uni doing electrical engineering. And I've always considered myself to be a very practical person. I like to see things, from a practical perspective. And then electrical engineering can be very theoretical as well, as you might imagine. So when I was at the third year of uni, I just decided to put my course on hold for a while and travel somewhere and work somewhere to get some practical experience. And so what I did was I sent my CV to Australia, to a quite large number of companies. And among these companies that showed interest in my CV was NOJA Power. And all I had in mind at that stage was actually to have this practical work experience as well as put my English to the test. Because I had been studying English back then, for about 3 years, but you never really know if you're able to speak unless you find yourself in a real situation with native speakers of the language. So I flew to Australia and I did this great 6-month internship at NOJA Power. And one thing that really got my attention working for NOJA Power is how they really treated interns as young but still professional. So they really assigned me with very interesting tasks, and I really immersed in a high voltage manufacturing sector, and I got really interested. That certainly hooked me up. So when I came back to Brazil and I finished my electrical engineering course, and at the end of it, I decided that I wanted to work for NOJA. And then I got in contact with the company again. And I think NOJA Power was about a 7-year-old company, about that. And it was still very focused in the sector. So I just decided to apply for a job and they accepted. So what happened was that I started a company in Brazil, in São Paulo, and I started distributing NOJA Power products in the country. Such a well-designed and good product, it basically took off. So from start of this company until we had quite a considerable market share, it was about 2 or 3 years. And with all this volume of business and with all this demand that we have here in Brazil, NOJA Power headquarters in Australia decided to start a subsidiary in Brazil, and that was back in 2012. And along with that opportunity, they invited me to become the CEO of the company. And so that's when it all started, you know. So I basically went from the company intern in 2006 to the company CEO in Brazil in 2012. And then from then, we have been growing the business in Brazil, and we have been basically growing all sorts of all facets of our operation. We have grown production, we have grown our staff, we have grown our product portfolio, and in parallel to this professional experience, I also, you know, took care of my education. So I went on and did MBA here in Brazil in FGV. Then I took corporate finances at Unicamp. And then the cherry of the cake, as you know, in 2018, we did the general management program at Harvard Business School, where I gladly met you, Antonio. So that's basically the whole scenario of how it all started and the point where we are today.
So this is such a nice, inspirational story, you know, like from intern to CEO. You know, you don't see that common, you know, and I think this is something that especially our audience will like to reflect to, you know, to see the steps that someone else has already taken by initiative. You're living in Brazil and you want to live abroad for a few years, not knowing what the future is going to bring you. And all of a
Yep.
sudden, you just found great opportunities for you. Uh, Within this thematic, I have one tiny question for you. Um, how is it that you connect your professional experience with the book that you just launched? How
Yes.
is it that you're an electrical engineer running a company and now you're writing a book about being the CEO of yourself? Will be the English
Yes.
title?
That's exactly it. So the English version is coming out soon. Uh, the main idea behind the book was that, you know, I talk to a lot of people, as you do as well, and I couldn't help noticing there's a diversion between what people like or what people want for themselves and what they actually do. Sometimes these are completely different things, and they sometimes can't really link them. Okay, if I want to get to this point, what actions should I take, and what sort of approach and behavior should I hold to make sure I get there? So basically, the book is about why do we not apply some management skills to our own life? Because reality is, well, at least you may not become a professional CEO in your life, and many people will not, and actually many people don't want that. It's just it is a particular job position. Now, many people have different goals for their lives, but whatever is it that you want, if you want to get there, you need to apply some management skills. And why do not do that professionally? So basically, I share some of the things I believe a good CEO of themselves, how they should, what skills they should have, and how should they approach opportunities. So as I said, you may not become a professional CEO, but reality is everybody has been born as the CEO of their own lives, and probably from a certain age, they need to start taking good decisions to make sure they reach whatever is it that they want, and they reach their full potential. So it's just to bring that awareness. You know, you're not just a supporting role in your own life. You're like, you have the main role, so you have to take responsibility for it.
Great. Um, can't wait for the English version, Bruno, you know.
Yeah, I'll definitely send you one.
Okay, so now let's jump into the first topic of the conversation. And Can you tell us a little bit more about the core of your business? What is NOJA Power doing right now, and why sustainability is important?
Yeah. So NOJA Power research and develop, as well as sell and service medium voltage switchgear. So basically, our focus is to uh, design protection relays as well as circuit breakers that get installed and deployed all over the distribution network to make sure that and from that information we can make good decisions from a control automation perspectives. And in order to do that, we also have a lot of communications and as well as other technologies built in going. So just to give you an example, when you are in your house and you have energy shortage, uh, basically you cannot do anything, right? And just how important electricity has become in our modern lives, we just can't live without it. It's almost a premise of every other industry is to have electricity. So what our devices do, they actually act to minimize blackout areas, as well as make sure that we have uh, good quality energy all the time. And how does it do that? It basically measure all the network parameters, basically voltage and current. And from those two parameters, we make all sorts of analysis and calculations, and then make decisions according to the configurations all the electricity utilities have put in our product. And reclosers, as we call it, because it is a circuit breaker with lots of other functionalities. And it, basically this product has become the apple of the eye of the distribution networks, giving the flexibility of the product in terms of, again, monitoring, controlling, protecting, and automating the network.
Okay. So, and how is the renewable energy sector in Brazil nowadays?
Yeah, it's growing quite a lot. As you know, Brazil it's a very large country, and we have all sorts of natural conditions that really favor us from a renewable energy perspective. Mainly in the northeast, for instance, you have a lot of sun and wind, and that's, if we had to split Brazil, that's probably where most of these opportunities are located at the moment. So there's a huge potential for these renewable sources to be deployed and developed. And we do have lots of activities with these companies as well. We do not manufacture solar panels or wind farms related sort of equipment, but we do provide our reclosers to these projects, which again then helps them to control and to protect all this system that goes around these renewable energy sources. And it's very important, right? Because for Brazil, basically our power matrix comes basically from hydropower. We have, lots of rivers and falls and everything else. So that's a very good for us. That's a positive. But then again, we also have sun and wind. So we need to make sure that we take this full approach to make sure that we don't have to rely only on one source. And not only that, we also have to take care of the environment as well. And we know how big these hydropower projects can be and what environmental footprint they can leave behind. So if we can start slowly but progressively changing from one source to a more wide range of sources, that's probably good for us as a nation.
Okay. And in this case, your company is somehow in the middle, uh, helping organizations to measure and control and to stakeholders to take better decisions on what's it's happening.
Exactly. So basically, at the end, you have the power generation, for instance, like energy being generated or captured by solar panels. and this energy it will have to be injected in the main network. So that's where my product comes in between these two ends, like the interconnection between generation and distribution, to make sure that
Oh,
you connect these other sources of energy in a safe and controlled manner. So we are the link.
okay. Okay, really interesting, Bruno. Now let's focus quickly on the next subject of our conversation is how COVID-19 has impacted your industry, you know, on the positive, negative aspects
Yes,
that may has happened in the last couple of months. What can you share with us?
right. Well, I guess COVID-19 has impacted human beings, right? So from that perspective, I think every single business on Earth has been impacted somehow, because it affects people, and it's all about people, right? But from a practical and technical perspective, as I started saying, electricity has become like this, just essential, to human life, and to every other activities that we might want to do, to the point where it cannot stop. That's the reality. So we keep working. Electricity utilities, at least from my perspective in Brazil, they keep investing in controlling and protecting and providing safe and quality energy to the end customers, as well as to the other industries. And for that reason, the market hasn't really slowed down the way we previously thought it could potentially do. So we keep manufacturing and we keep delivering. Obviously, from my business unit perspective, we have taken all the safety measures. So we do have a lot of people working from home, and production staff, they have been shifting as well, and we have lots of hand sanitizers and masks and hygiene policies and everything else put in place to make sure that we keep our work environment as safe as possible. But as I said, electricity cannot stop. So electricity distributors and utilities, they have not stopped. And as we provide, capital equipment, infrastructure equipment to them, we cannot stop either. Having said that, we have obviously faced some difficulties in terms of logistics. We as a manufacturer, we put parts together, and these parts come from a lot of different places, and for these parts to get here, they have had to overcome some logistics issues and bottlenecks. Um, I know that some ports around the globe have put in place more strict policies in terms of cargoes and people, so that slows down the process. And but it's something that we have to work with. It's say business operation management, and you have to take on board risk management and crisis as well. So bottom line is, it has not stopped, and I don't think it will, because we need to make sure that the lights on all over the globe.
And what do you think is going to happen in the next few months? You know, during next 3 months or even until December, as a
Yeah,
company, what kind of measures are you thinking that you might implement?
yeah. So we've been reviewing our plan every Friday, so basically every week, because it's so very new for us as well. Uh, Particularly speaking, that's the very first, pandemic scenario that I've lived in my life. So it's very new for a lot of people, and for a lot of business as well. So we have been sitting every week to review our plans and what's it that we're gonna do. And frankly speaking, I think that in a 1 or 2 months time, everything will be back to normal, Antonio. Definitely death has been the worst result of this COVID and economic slowdown. But reality is, life needs to go on, right? And we cannot think of a life without economic activity, because there are all sort of opinions about this. But economic activity does not mean just banks and large industries. It means like the local grocery shop. It means the local car wash. And for countries like Brazil, where the social security system is very deficient when you compare to other parts of the world, reality is people need to work, and not only work for the financial safety from a money perspective, but also from a human social perspective as well. I've been seeing people depressed and people wanting to get their life back, and I think that's also important. So there's also this social side of it. I think in 1 or 2 months' time, everything will be back to normal. I think human beings, they have changed a lot of their mindset in regards to hygiene and in regards to health as well, because we need to take care of our own body if you want to go through this crisis. But I think human beings are very flexible, and we tend to adapt quite quick. And I think, and I hope and I wish that in 2 months' time, everything will be back to normal as far as we can.
Okay. So, Bruno, I think at this moment, according to our agenda, we have arrived to the last part, which is, mm, I mean, the plan is to leave a final message to our audience, which are mostly young professionals that just graduated or are in their first years of their professional life. And all of a sudden, they're facing this global crisis. What would your, let's say, three key takeaways be for these people?
Yes. First one is not business related. It's life related. I would say take care of your health. Reality is our immune system is like a war system, right? And when we are young, we don't feel like it's a problem for us, and most of the times it actually isn't. So we tend to have some less aware lifestyle. But so I would say take care of your health system. And I think not only COVID-19, but some all sorts of other things that may come up your way will be less important if we do that. So that's the first thing, and most important of everything, because unless you have good health, nothing else matters, right? Second thing is use your time effectively. We have been seeing people working from home, and even during the leisure times cannot go out or do anything. So just use your time productively. Learn, be curious, be proactive about things that you want to do. If you don't have a life plan, just write one down and make sure that once you're able to get out there, you put that in action. uh, if I can say, my book is it's a lot about this. It's about uh, making things happen, and the more you plan and the better you plan, your efficiency will be better, and you'll be close to your goals. Um, and I guess the third one would uh, be aware that life can change in a blink of an eye, as we have seen it. So I think everyone should have a purpose in life, and I think it makes sense for us to spend some time and to spend some time thinking about it and finding the one purpose in our life that we can work towards, and then keep that in mind and do as much as you can. Uh, the good about being young is that you have this open world in front of you and everything is possible. But reality is, if you lose focus, then you start shooting everywhere, and reality is the target you very often missing. So that's probably my third and most important one. Is it's find your purpose, get focused to it, and get it done.
Great advice, Bruno. So, thank you so much. We know you're an extremely busy person, and you're so kind to have this time with us. This is the end of our conversation today. I'm very sure people is really going to enjoy your insights from this industry and also from your professional experience. Look forward to see you someday in the future, maybe in Sao Paulo.
Maybe São Paulo. Thank you a lot, Antonio. Thank you for this opportunity. I think it's important to sweep across the industries and inform a young professional of what's going on. I'm pretty sure they'll get a lot of diverge opinions, and everything can contribute to their own opinions and thinking process. And thank you for this opportunity. I think we're going to be seeing each other soon. And until then, keep in touch.
Yeah, great, awesome. So
Congratulations for this initiative, man. It's very important. So I think you're adding quite a lot of value through your ideas and initiatives, not only to these young professionals, but to all the audience that will be seeing these videos online.
I really hope so. Thanks for your words, Bruno.
Thank you very much, Antonio. See you soon.
See you soon.